to the It Takes Grit podcast. I am jacked up today, and because of this, do you guys know what's going on here? Oh yes, we have got Jon Jacques in the house. Welcome!
Hey, how are you guys?
Woo! I am fired up because you're going to be teaching us a little bit about magic and then how you built your incredible business and the grit that it took you.
That's right, sure are.
Okay, so I thought that we would kick off the YouTube video with a magic trick. I mean, why not?
Okay, let's do it.
Show us what
well,
we're
listen,
gonna do.
I'm actually not going to do too much with this one. You're really going to do a lot of the work. So.
Okay, so before we do that, you do remember what happened the last time that I was your assistant.
Yeah.
And I did something very different out of the trick, but it worked.
Yeah,
but anyway,
that's right.
Okay, so I'm amazed that you are giving me the.
We're going to try again. This is your
responsible-
redemption story right here.
Okay. God,
so go ahead,
everybody's
take the cards out and just give them a shuffle, however you normally do it, whatever's easier.
So I used to be a poker dealer.
Oh, no way.
So I used to be able to like shuffle like really well.
Yeah, you
But,
clearly
like,
forgot that skill.
Yes. I learned lots of other skills. I used to be able to do the whole. I definitely used to be able to do this. I'm not even going to try. Yeah, it's.
All right, and just show the cards to these guys, just
Okay.
so they know it's a real deck and things like that.
Guys, do you think that I could be a magician's assistant?
I think you could. Yeah, we're doing well. Whenever you want, Rebecca, just take out one. It doesn't matter where you pull it from the top, bottom, in the middle. I want no control
Okay.
over where that card comes from.
Okay, now, what do I do with it?
Just put it out on the table. Now here's what I'm going to do. I'll take the rest of the cards.
Okay.
I will turn around for this part because I am going to have you flip it over and write your name on it, and obviously make sure they can see it as well. I don't want to see anything.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, turn around. So do I show them the card?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay.
And just let me know.
And then just write my name on it.
Write your name on it nice and big. Yeah.
Okay.
And let me know when I get turned back around.
So turn it back over. I've got to ask very detailed questions because I completely messed
You're
this up
doing
last
great.
time.
You're doing
Okay,
great.
okay, it's back down on the
It's
table.
hidden, right?
You can't see it
Cool.
for sure.
Awesome. And you guys know the card, right? Perfect.
Yeah.
Here's what's going to happen. I don't want to take it from you just yet because I want to explain 3 things you're going to see. Okay? What I'm about to show you took me 6.5 years to learn. The first thing you're going to see is the breath. I'll be breathing diaphragmatically, just a fancy word for breathing through my stomach, not my chest. Gets more oxygen into my blood supply, more oxygen into my brain. Second thing you'll see me do, I'll rub my hands together gently, okay? That creates a little bit of static, gets the energy flowing through my body, and makes the reaction happen. And the third part is the trigger. When you watch the energy build over the cards, I know it sounds weird, but you'll see how this works
really
in a
cool.
second. When you see the energy build, I'll back my hands away slowly, and that's when it's gonna happen.
Okay.
Okay? We do need a little bit of room for this.
Okay.
So keep track of your card.
Okay.
We're gonna come right over here on the floor.
Right,
Okay? Awesome. I'll take your card back now,
Okay.
and whenever you want, just say stop.
Stop.
Perfect. We'll push your card in right there. Now it's gone. Not keeping my place or anything like that. The cards are going to go on the floor. You can crouch down with me.
Okay.
Rebecca Louise, put one hand on top of this hand right here. And actually switch hands. You'll want the other one. Yep. Perfect. And then the other hand just like that. Excellent. Rub my hands together. Do it with me as well. Now we're going to start the breath.
It's like a second date.
Sounds a little funny. Sometimes it actually works. Watch carefully. Don't move. Boom. Total focus. Total concentration on one card. Pick it up and show it to the camera. We got it.
Oh my god!
There you go.
That's rad. I'm gonna hire you every day.
Okay.
Come over and I'll stroke your hands for all these magic
Beautiful.
tricks.
That's for you.
That's
Thanks.
amazing. Oh my god. Okay. Well, I think we're done. That's it. That's the YouTube video. We're done. Wow, that's incredible. I love magic. Okay. Well, we're gonna get started on this podcast.
Cool. Let's do it.
Okay. Right. We're gonna take a quick break and we'll be back with the podcast. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of It Takes Grit. Today in the house, I have got Jon Jacques. Woo!
Woo!
How you feeling after that workout?
I'm feeling great after that workout.
How, does your butt like tingle?
It's hard to sit.
It was a 5-minute booty burn that we did on the YouTube channel. So if you haven't gone and seen that or done it, then make sure that you do because you're going to see Jon really feeling the burn.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and you didn't even say, I can feel the burn, Rebecca. So I feel like, let's say that. I can feel the burn, Rebecca.
At the same time?
Yes, let's go. 1, 2, 3.
I can feel the burn, Rebecca.
Yes, that's where everybody hashtags. So I'm so excited to have you on the show
Thank you.
today. And we did an amazing magic trick that you just blow my mind. Like every single time we see you do something, it's not only just an amazing trick, but it's really like heartwarming. And I want people to go and follow you on Instagram and your Facebook to find out, you know, the heart of what your magic's all about.
Sure.
So first of all, how do they find you?
Yeah, it's just at Jonathan Jacques.
Perfect, nice and easy, and we're going to put all the details in the description as well. So I wanted to talk to you about your career in magic, and then how you've transitioned, and you're only young. Like, how old are you?
27 now.
27. I remember when I was 27. Oh my goodness. Oh, in the back of the good old days when I was out gallivanting around. But now I want to know, you know, where it was that you started, what it's taken to get where you're at, and then the transition as well. So tell us, why magic?
Sure. So I was really brought up to believe that everyone has a gift inside of them, whatever that might be. For some people, it might be they make the best cupcakes, or they design clothes, or whatever that gift is. And I have some really incredible parents. They always told us, like, find whatever you want to do in life. We'll support you 110%. So randomly, when I was 6 years old, they bought me a magic set for Christmas. I thought it was the coolest thing. I ran around with this goofy top hat on, like tripping on this cape, and I'd basically show magic tricks to people for fun. And right about 9 years old, I wanted to build a legit magic show.
That's incredible though, because at 9 years old, knowing that, do you think there was something intrinsically inside of you, and do you think it was a combination of your parents and what you had in you?
I'm not sure. I definitely a combination of my parents. They weren't like the stage parents that were crazy and like pushed me to do anything. But they definitely helped foster like the dream, which is incredible. And basically, they wanted to teach me the value of $1. They never handed us kids anything. I have a younger sister and a younger brother as well. And so they said, hey, we're going to loan you $1,000 if you want to really build this show. And $1,000
That's a lot of money.
Seemed like $1 million, right?
That's a lot of money for a 9-year-old.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you understand how much $1,000 was?
Not really.
It was just a number,
It was just a lot.
Yeah.
Basically. And so we
Why
went...
$1,000?
That's about what it would take to put together like all the props and little boxes and things like that.
Wow.
So we went to a magic shop in Boston, picked out a bunch of things, put together the show. I practiced like crazy, and my parents said I have to pay them back. It was a loan. It wasn't like, hey, here's $1,000, go have fun. So I decided I was going to do magic shows to get the money to pay them back.
So your first, like, what did you charge people to come and watch a 9-year-old?
$50.
$50?
Not a ticket, not per ticket.
Oh, okay.
No. So I started, my mom would tell her friends, like, hey, Jonathan's doing magic shows.
Yep.
So they'd have me at, like, their kids' birthday parties, and then I started
so you're
climbing.
9 years old?
Yeah.
At how old
10,
are these?
10 is when I started the shows.
Okay, because 10 is really old.
Yeah.
So you would go to, like, 5-year-olds' birthday parties?
Yeah, just about. Or kids my age.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, like your age, right? And so how much are you getting paid?
Yeah, so at first it started at like $50 for an hour show. And then by like 12, I was doing like $350 an hour. And then I had like upsells, like you could buy the magic wands and like the magic kit. So literally at like 13, 14 years old, I'd walk out with like $500.
Wow.
For some of these shows, which was crazy.
Yeah,
you know?
That's so incredible. And where did that money go to?
I saved all of it. Saved it for like a car, and I actually bought a jet ski when I was 16, which was a lot of fun.
Okay, well you must have got a lot of girls when you're getting a jet ski.
Yeah, the jet ski
so
was
the magic, maybe not, but the jet ski.
The jet ski balanced it out a little bit, yeah.
Like, here's a guy with his magic wand, not so interested in this. Hang on a second, he's got a jet ski.
That's right.
Okay, so you could leverage the money to get something else you wanted.
Exactly.
Okay.
There was a method to the madness.
Yes, that's very smart. That's sneaky.
Yeah.
And also, you can impress people with magic too.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it gets their attention.
It was, I mean, it's crazy. Even to this day, like, really just gets people to break down their walls and opens up just so many doors. Like, you can walk into any bar, any, place of strangers, dinner party, and walk away with a bunch of friends, which is cool.
That's so rad. So at what age were you doing, how many shows were you doing? What were you doing?
Yeah, so at like 12, I got up to over 250 shows a year. I would do like 4 to 8 per weekend. I did go to school. That was one of like the rules of this loan thing, is I had to maintain like A's and B's, or the magic shows would have to stop.
And the jet skis would go.
And the jet skis would go and all that. But yeah, so I just, worked really hard. Like all my friends were like drinking, and like starting to go to parties around like 17, 16, and I was just hustling, like 90-degree weather.
And you were at magic show parties.
At magic show parties, yeah, with a tuxedo on, like just sweating bullets sometimes in the summer, and I just worked really hard and have always had like the entrepreneurial spirit. And,
so how long did it take you to pay back that $1,000 from your parents?
Actually, like probably 4 months.
Yeah, at 10.
It went really fast.
Yeah, that's so rad. So did you grow up with like idols, like inspiration in the magic, or people outside of magic?
Sure, definitely in magic. David Copperfield being the biggest. David Blaine was like really starting to blow up, right around my teens. So those were huge inspirations there. But then also, like, my dad is very big on personal development. My mom as well, but more so my dad. And so he would take me to like marketing conferences at like 15 years old. I'd be at like Dan Kennedy, like internet marketing conference and all sorts of crazy things. So then I started to develop like entrepreneurial mentors in that space.
Yeah, so you had the combination of like something that you wanted to emulate within magic, but then also having the ability of that personal growth with other people.
For sure.
So that's unusual for, now it's more common with personal development, but where did your parents start listening to personal development? Do you know why?
Sure.
Because that seems like it's such a new thing.
Yeah, definitely.
And to be able to give that to your kids, I think that's huge.
Well, they're both entrepreneurs. My dad is a real estate investor and runs a construction company, and my mom is an insurance sales agent.
Okay.
And they're both beasts. Like my mom's like top 10 out of like 14,000 sales reps, and they're just hustlers. And then my dad like works like an animal. My sister and brother just went home for the summer a little bit to work with him. They can't believe he does this like 7 days a week.
Yeah, he's crazy. Just has it inside of him.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so at what age did you maybe take a break from magic?
Yeah, right around college is when I, junior, senior year, I said, okay, I basically done what I've wanted to do, and while I'm still in school, I can't really have the show in Vegas or, do a touring show or anything like that. It was just too difficult. So I kind of got tapped out. I was doing corporate events at that point, trade shows where the higher paying gigs are, and I just wanted to kind of live a little bit.
Well, I guess that you started so young that it was almost like child actors. Yeah. You like just got burnt out.
Sure, a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I had 8 years of work under my belt while everyone else was like just starting,
Exactly.
So I said, I think I earned that right to have
was a Vegas show, because obviously like a lot of magicians, like that's the big like icing on the cake is.
For sure.
Have you done a show in Vegas?
I have. Yeah, several times. I haven't had like my own, running show for 6 months or anything. That was always my dream as a kid. As time went on, the dream just shifted and changed a little bit. I had some bigger, cool opportunities pop up and started to...
So what's the biggest audience you've ever
so at 15 years old, I did 8,000 people in an arena.
Wow, what was that for?
That was for a halftime show for like Mohegan Sun Arena for one of the games that they had, and every magician told me not to do it. Like, everyone's drunk, you're not going to be able to hold their attention, and literally the guy after the show told me the concession stand sales were like some of the lowest ever. Like, he's like, great show, but we're not sure if we can have you back because the people actually liked the show.
They
didn't go spend money on
like booze and stuff.
So it ended up doing really well. It was a lot of fun.
What do you think is the show that maybe you wish you hadn't done, or the biggest regret?
Oh, that's interesting. I don't know if I really regret any of them. I can't really say there's a show that I regret at all. But I mean, I've always sort of had this mentality, like my mentors, really instilled in me. The show must go on, essentially.
That's the line.
Thousands of shows I've done, and I've maybe missed one or two because I was deathly ill and would literally throw up on stage.
Right.
But even then, there were times where I'm like sick, like right before I go on, and you just do the show.
Yeah, you just got to get through it. Yeah, I mean, there's been times where I've felt like, oh, it's the last thing I want to do is like, go and do a fit camp or perform.
Sure.
But the thing is, you have to. And as soon as you step onto that stage, there's something inside you that almost performs better than you would if you were normal, because you have to do it more.
You compensate.
Like, you have to get that grit inside of you that's just like, I'm like so tired, we've been traveling, whatever it is, and you're just like, I just want to sleep. And then, they call your name, you've got your mic on, you walk on stage, you're like, hi everybody! And then it's game time. So was there any like big decisions that you had to make, or things that were difficult with kind of all the contracts and everything? Was there anything that made you feel uncomfortable?
Nothing really uncomfortable that couldn't be solved. Normally, 98% of my business was word of mouth. So people were coming to me by referral. Right. Therefore, I kind of set the rules. And I think that's always a great position to be in business, no matter what business you're in. If you're in such high demand where you can afford to send people away, you're not really going to set yourself up to be in a compromising position, because you're kind of the prize, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, and then you're doing things because it fits in and aligns with your goals.
Exactly.
I think that's a lot of times people with business is you maybe don't put the price high enough, so that when you get asked to do something, if the price isn't right, sometimes you'll often feel a little bit resentful.
Yep.
And then that's the last thing that you want to do.
Sure.
And I teach a lot of people building businesses that if you need to set what you think you're worth. And that's how do you decide what you're worth?
Yeah, well, it's funny you bring up the price thing, because one of my early mentors at like 14 years old, his name's Joel Bauer. He actually lives in Los Angeles area. He's like, how many shows are you doing? I told him, the number. He's like, double your price. And I did, and nothing changed.
Right.
In fact, like now everyone's nicer. People are coming to help carry my stuff in. There's like a glass of water waiting. And so you have to demonstrate that value. I think through testing is really the way to determine it, but seriously, there's sometimes where you can just double it, and if the demand is there, I'm not saying start, and double your price too, but if the demand is there, the market will. So
that's really your biggest tip, is if you're in so much demand, that's the time to double your price.
For sure.
Because then you're going to get people, and they do treat you better when you're getting paid more.
Big time.
Because there's why do you think that is? It's like a psychological reason for it?
Yeah, I mean, they say, people don't place a value really on free. And if you do it for free, they just don't see that as worth. But if they're spending, $500 for a kid's birthday party, you bet they're going to pay attention.
And they're going to look after you.
That's right.
Yeah, that's so interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, so I think, one other signal for that, which might help some people, is I noticed I was getting a lot of tips. And obviously that doesn't happen in every business that you're in, but people would tip an extra $50 here, $75, and when that started happening a lot, it was a clear sign that people felt like they weren't paying enough and they had to pay more.
Did you ever feel at one point like, I am it? Like, did your ego at any, obviously you have a lot of personal development, so that checks in, but there's got to be some times where you feel good, or was it like, am I good enough?
Sure.
Did you ever feel, did you sometimes feel like you weren't good enough? Did you sometimes feel like, hey, I'm the shit? I'm like, man?
I think it's hard to acknowledge that at such a young age. I don't think I got cocky with it. But there were some really cool moments, like when I was 15 and all the cheerleaders from like the game were like trying to talk to me and all this stuff, and then they found out I was 15, and that was a deal breaker.
You're like, but I got a jet ski.
For a while there, that was pretty cool.
For a split second. So that made you feel good.
Yeah, I was.
Looking back, you never felt like you got too big for your boots or got cocky.
I don't think so.
Or any time that you did, would your dad put you in check?
Oh, for sure they would. Yeah, for sure they would. There were times where I felt that I got comfortable, where the show, because it's a different audience every time, remained the same exact show for too long. So I think that's a level of comfort you have to shake out of and push yourself to learn more and do more. And
yeah, it's interesting. So I watched a couple of documentaries this weekend, Lady Gaga's and Amy Winehouse.
Yeah, sure.
And both of them, just like the expectation of like what's next. And it's interesting you talk about, always like recreating that show, because there's sometimes even more pressure on you once you've created something great to keep going.
Sure.
So did you ever feel like there was like an insecurity, or that you weren't good enough, or like, how am I going to do better? Like, how am I going to like keep going and become better?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think there are always moments where you question yourself a little bit. Maybe something happens or they didn't applaud as loud. I mean, with live performance, you obviously have that feedback, and so there's a lot of testing that happens, right? And comedians do this as well, where they'll tell a bunch of new jokes, they'll see which ones hit, they tweak it. Same thing with magic. You'll put in one new effect, you won't change the whole thing from square one. And then if it doesn't do well, you take it out, you try something else, you change the words that you're using with it, and then you start to iron it out. But I didn't make any dramatic enough changes. It was a steady process to kind of filter out the show. To do that,
yeah.
So
I feel like sometimes people are, new business owners, there's an insecurity about, will people like this? Will people, and anybody if you're creating a new business and you're scared about telling your family or scared about telling your friends or scared about putting it on social media, we all have those, insecurities, oh my God, crap, is this gonna work? So how do you overcome kind of thinking about because you think, is this good enough? I do this with my app and my workouts, are people gonna like it? Is it gonna be good feedback? But how do you keep going regardless?
Sure, well, that part, I think I probably adopted from magic, because my first shows were terrible. I mean, I was
everybody's
10
terrible
years
at the beginning,
old.
by the way.
Yeah,
Everybody's terrible at the beginning.
So I didn't know any better. People just thought it was a cute kid. That's probably a lot of the reason I got hired early on until I got better. But like I said, you constantly test and refine, and it's the same thing with me in business today. I understand that it's not going to be the perfect scenario right off the bat. I have 5 courses online right now that I help people go viral on social media, and the first iterations of the courses were probably not the best. There were maybe some editing errors, things here and there, information I could have said differently or added to it, but I have now trained myself, and I think everyone else out there, whether you're starting a business or you're working a job or whatever, you have to just keep telling yourself, I'm a work in progress, and it's going to unfold, the path will unfold. When I started making videos on social media, I didn't own a camera, I didn't know how to shoot videos, I knew nothing, and the only way that I learned it, and got to now over 100 million views online is by doing it. Just going in the trenches. First video is gonna stink, you put it out there, but fortunately no one was watching them at that point in time anyway, so it doesn't matter. You just have to start. And you have to take action, and by going through the motions, you start to refine it. I mean, you're not going to become Tiger Woods overnight or Kobe Bryant. It takes time.
And that's the biggest thing is it's just starting.
Yep. Absolutely.
You can't be great until you start. Yeah.
And it's tough for people to do that. I think fear sets in. I don't have any other answer besides you have to bite the bullet and face your fear. And I think by exposing yourself to the things you're afraid of over time, those fears start to break down and disappear.
And it's enjoy the process of making a ton of mistakes and just refining. Exactly what you said, you refined your magic show to becoming something where you got paid way more than $50.
Right.
And so if those, you guys out there starting something new, it's not going to be perfect. My first thing was one landing page.
Sure.
Where people put their email and their telephone number in.
Yeah.
And that was it. And now it's an app.
Right.
It's available on freaking iTunes.
Exactly.
How did that happen? But it's just keep taking that next step.
Yeah.
So what is the biggest mistake that's happened on stage that you've been oh God, what happened?
I've had some crazy, weird ones. I had a little kid just shaking on stage, and I'm wondering what's going on.
How old were you?
I was probably 16, driving myself to my own shows at this point. So I'm looking at him. Why is this kid dancing around? The kid has to pee so bad.
Oh no! But did you pick him out?
So, I picked him from the crowd.
Oh, so you picked the worst person.
Yeah, it just happened to. I didn't know he had to pee. I don't say, hey, who wants to help? By the way, make sure you don't have to pee.
Yeah. That's how you refine it. So next time when you're asking somebody and the audience who wants to come forward, you have to make sure that they don't need to pee first.
You build that in.
Yeah.
And so he's just hopping around, and everyone's laughing, and I'm like, why are they laughing? And I'm like, oh, he's just dancing funny. That's why everyone's laughing. But then I look, and I'm like, oh no, this kid is about to pee his pants on stage. And so fortunately, we took the thing that he was holding, we like ran him off stage, and like he went and did his thing, and I did another trick, and then he came back and he finished it up.
Oh, so he got to come back and finish it. How
exactly.
old was he?
Oh, he must have been like 4 years old.
Oh
like,
my God.
Yeah, he was a cute little kid. It was funny. So that wasn't really a mistake, but I've had times where like I'll make a dove appear. This was one time in particular where I made the dove appear. There are windows all around.
Oh, I love this story.
They get scared. Well, not scared, but they think they're outside if there's a bunch of light.
Mm-hmm.
And so they start to want to fly like they're outside. And sure enough, it's like circling around the room, which is cool. We're used to that. They just land and it's no big deal. But this time he landed right in the kid's birthday cake, with like these 2 giant claw marks like across the kid's name where it says happy birthday. And so my dad just walked over and, said sorry. And he's like, yeah, you might want to cut that piece out.
Yeah. So did that go down okay?
And it was fine.
It's fine. It's
they
kind
were
of
actually,
funny. It's like part of it.
Yeah, exactly. They thought it was funny. The mom was like, oh, they're fine.
Yeah.
They're kids. No big deal. So, but yeah.
Have you ever been booed on stage?
That I have not.
That's amazing.
Not that I
How
can
many
remember.
shows have you done?
Yeah, I mean, you got to be a real jerk to boo a 16-year-old kid.
I know people are like drunk or whatever.
No.
Like, yeah. Well, that's because that's and what about online? Have you ever had like any negativity online?
A little bit. I think that's an interesting topic, right, to talk about, because I think everyone, if you put yourself out there, will face some sort of criticism.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get really like attacked. The nature of my content is very feel-good content.
Yeah.
I was able to work with like the Ellen DeGeneres show and like a bunch of people like that. So naturally, I don't think you would get a ton of hate. Putting out feel-good messages, but you get some here and there, and I just have this mentality of, I understand that person might be going through something.
Right.
I don't take it personally. I brush it off. I also think, too, with social media, no one can really understand who you are as a person and what you're all about by watching a 3-minute video clip. So, sure, they might have seen something in there that they didn't like, but most people just, are bored and want to poke fun at something. And if they really knew me, who knows?
Yeah.
Otherwise, maybe they're just kind of mean.
And that's a really interesting point because, your content is all like feel good, it's like giving back, it's nice, and you can still get a few negative comments.
Yeah.
So whatever you guys are doing out there, like you're going to put stuff online, and that's just like the nature of people sometimes. And the way that I react is like, wow, they must be going through something.
Right.
Like, I'm sending you love.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, my heart is there for you.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's such a big thing, because I really feel like so many people are scared because they're worried about what other people are going to say.
Right.
And I think, well, if you're, the fear of me not doing what I love is bigger than the fear of of somebody saying something negative to me. Like,
exactly.
I love so much what I do that no one... I don't care what you say. You could say whatever you want to me. I'm not going to stop doing what I love just because of you.
Yeah, it's a great way to think about it.
Yeah, I think that's how you have to be. Okay, so the magic. So you stopped that in college because you just were like, I can't do school and shows. Why did you choose school though over the shows?
That's an interesting question. That was mainly because of my parents. They said, you're going to college, basically.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Even though that you were like...
Even though I could have...
crushing it!
I could have been fine.
You could have been like the next, like...
Yeah, could have. You never know. But
I
think it was the right move.
Okay.
I think it was the right move. I went to Babson College in Boston area,
which
is like the #1 school for entrepreneurs in the world. It's voted like 18 years in a row or something crazy. And so everyone there is like trying to start a business, working on cool things. Some of them raising money from investors, things like that. And the people I met, just the experience I had, was definitely worth it. So I'm glad that I did it.
Yeah. So after you came out of college, what was it like? Did you feel like a little bit lost about where you were going next, or did you already have things set up in college?
Sure.
Because I did this. So I had a transition where I came out of a TV show, and then like all my friends were at university, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, what's next? Because you already had so much success.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you go from there?
Right. Well, the path kind of revealed itself to me. Come December of senior year, couple months to go, I had no clue what I was going to do. My friends were applying to jobs and tightening up their resumes, and I literally was about to leave college and go do a bunch more corporate trade shows with magic, and that was the plan. I got a
Were you okay with that? Were you feeling content with that?
Absolutely, and that probably is what would have led to the bigger show.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about working on a cruise ship for fun for like 6 months and
Yeah.
just have fun with it, but that could have been one path. And then I had a friend who graduated when I was a freshman, so he's a couple years ahead of me, and he called me up and he's like, "Hey John, I just raised like $7 million to start a company in San Francisco. I want you to come check it out, like what we're building." And he had some of the biggest investors in Silicon Valley. I went to San Francisco, they flew me out one weekend, and I just thought it was a really cool opportunity, almost too good to pass up.
Yeah.
And basically I said, hey, I can always keep magic as a part of my life. I'm not giving up on this dream. I'll do this for a little bit. If it doesn't work or something happens, I can always go back to
So what was the pitch he gave you on the phone, apart from the $7 million?
So essentially, they were building a video advertising platform where you can take any YouTube video, and they had 100,000 sites that they partnered with, like USA Today and Forbes and you name it, Wall Street Journal. And we could basically take your YouTube video and put it on that site as an ad unit. And so as millions of people visit those sites, you are racking up millions of views on YouTube. And anyone could come in and spend $100 with their credit card and start to distribute their video on the web. And this is in the early days of YouTube where the view counter wasn't as strict. So we've promoted some of the most viral campaigns in history. Like one of my campaigns with Turkish Airlines that I ran got over 149 million views and was called YouTube's ad of the decade. And for like a brand commercial, like that's a lot of
huge.
views. Yeah.
Yes.
So so did a lot of cool things like that. And the company itself was insane. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
Everyone was young. We had this cool office in San Francisco. Then we moved to this penthouse office, like overlooking the whole city.
You're like,
it was
living it large.
It was a little.
Was it a little bit like Entourage?
Little Entourage, little Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
Like
all guys?
No, we did have a mix. Yeah, it became very diverse as the company progressed.
Because you had to.
Initially, it was mostly men working there, but they'd roll up with like a Ferrari one day, and it's like, all right, whoever closes the most deals, you get the Ferrari for the day. And we would all just like go crazy trying to win this thing. And I won it one time. My friend won it another time. We got it was cool. Just a lot of fun. And
so how long were you there for?
I was there for 2 years. Helped take the company from basically nothing to about $20 million a year in that time. We got like over 60,000 customers. And things just really started to blow up. And I think this is advice for anyone listening, I think the coolest thing about a startup is because if you pick the right company, it's growing so quickly, you can climb the ranks so much faster. So I started by closing $50 clients on the phone, and by the time I left, over $500,000 advertising deals in 2 years. So I went from like the bottom of the food chain to now one of like the senior account executives overseeing like a huge division of the business. And you don't get that in corporate America.
Right,
I think a young like growing company, if you're not starting your own thing, but you're kind of entrepreneurial and you don't want to take the risk, joining a startup literally put me on a different playing field so much faster.
And that's so incredible because you compare it to like corporate America, and like even if you are creating your own company right now, then your first clients are going to be like $50. It's kind of interesting because your first magic show was $50.
Yeah, that's funny.
And
you're
so
right.
what was the most amount of money you got paid for a show? Magic.
I would say probably $2,500.
And how long was that for?
For an hour.
For an hour.
Yeah.
And then how old were you when you got to that point?
I would say about 20 years old.
Okay, so 10 years, guys. I want you guys to understand this. So it took 10 years to go from $50 to $2,500. And $2,500 an hour is a ton of money.
Yeah, for sure.
And you've got to remember all of that grind and that grit that you put in to make it. Okay, so after 2 years, what did you do next?
So I was at the company for a while, and right around this time, this app called Periscope came out, and they got acquired by Twitter before they even launched. And so everyone was talking about this, a lot of buzz. It was a live stream
I
app.
remember it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So shortly after that, Facebook Live came out and all these things. So I was living in New York City at the time, and I thought it would be really cool to just have some fun with magic again, because I was working in advertising. So I went out on the streets of New York, did street magic like David Blaine, live on this app. And sure enough, in like a couple months, I became one of the top 15 Periscope influencers in the world on this
so
thing.
rad.
And
so why did you stop working at the startup?
why?
Yeah.
Because I just saw that I could be more fulfilled, essentially, doing my own thing. I wanted to always get back to entrepreneurship and
because you have it
building.
It's great to get experience in other companies
Right.
and work with that. So
Absolutely.
you have to get experience from other people.
Yep.
And then time is right, like 2 years. It's like,
That's
okay,
it.
I am prepared, I'm ready, and now I'm going to launch into my next chapter of your
Exactly.
life. So you moved to New York.
Yep. Yeah, I moved to New York actually with the company.
Okay.
And then I'd say about 6 months into New York, I started picking up, the whole social media game, and started on Periscope, and had some really cool opportunities happen. I got to tour the country with Sylvester Stallone and Michael B. Jordan for a month.
Wow.
To promote their movie Creed 1, the first one. Just some amazing things happened because this was a young app that was starting to flourish. People thought it was going to be like the next Instagram at that time. Unfortunately, it didn't really
Why do you
pan
think
out.
it didn't?
I think there's something to be said about live content. There's a lot of dead time. I think that people's attention span is so quick, and why would you say something in 15 minutes when it could be said in a 60-second Instagram video?
Or a photo.
Or a photo.
Yeah, sometimes.
Essentially.
Yeah, right, okay.
Right.
So everything was live on the app.
Yeah, and I didn't recognize that at the time, that might be an issue, but ultimately, the numbers started to plateau, and at that time, I actually, at the peak of it, I started a company. I said, okay, I'm going to take my advertising experience, I'm going to take my live stream experience, being like one of the, I guess, experts in this field now,
Yeah.
and I'm going to start an influencer marketing company to help brands connect with the top live stream influencers, who are all friends of mine.
Right.
And so that's when we ran campaigns for Warner Brothers and Sony Pictures and Bose, and we would basically sell them a Periscope campaign where a person with 100,000 something followers would go to their red carpet event. Sponsorships.
Yes.
And
was
so
that
that's
thing,
what we did.
Was sponsorship happening on Instagram and Facebook at that time?
It was.
Okay,
It was. And Vine, as well. And so influencer marketing was real, and people were getting paid. And I took that model and I said, well, if live streaming is the next frontier, let's get ahead of this. And I raised $250,000 from an investor, built a team of about 10 people all together in New York City, and we were just working really hard at that for a year while all this commotion about these apps was going on. The mistake I made was we entered a market that was so fresh, right? And especially with advertising dollars, not only was the market not proven yet, but with ad dollars and how slowly they move, we won a lot of really cool tests and really cool campaigns early on. People saying, hey, let's try this. We'll throw you 25 grand to do this thing. But ultimately, it just sort of fizzled out. We were always chasing the next deal.
Because the retention maybe wasn't
there.
Was the return, you couldn't check out the ROI.
The client retention,
Yeah.
exactly, was not there. You're always chasing the next one. It wasn't like they're live streaming every single day, like they're launching YouTube videos every day. So it just wasn't as mature of a market, and we took a big bet, but it didn't ultimately work out.
And that's sometimes what happens.
Yeah, it does.
You try stuff,
It
but
does.
it doesn't work.
For sure.
Yeah.
And you got to take the risk. I mean, you have to go for it. But
So how long did you do that for?
I did that for about a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then those people that you worked with, like...
Yeah, unfortunately.
Was that difficult?
Oh my gosh, that was like, that was the
the
lowest point in my life right there. I basically, pulled everyone out on the balcony. What happened was the company bank account hit zero, basically. I mean, I pressed it. Like, I did everything I could, working like 18-hour days, trying to figure this out. What can we do? And, up until the last second, and I had to pull everyone on the balcony, and I was crying. It was really tough, and tell them that, like, listen, guys, I don't see a way out of this thing. And,
did they know what was coming?
Maybe saw signs, but as a leader, I was really trying to stay positive for everyone, right? And also too, like 1 deal, 2 deals could have changed everything.
So you didn't really
so I wasn't sure.
tell them.
Yeah.
It's a difficult thing because you want to like prepare people so that they can like maybe find another job and stuff, and also not let them to go find another job because there might be a deal coming. Like that's a lot on your heartstrings.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I was all in, so I'm like, hey, listen, like, everyone on the team, very smart. They all, one got a job at BuzzFeed, like another one started his own company, another one became like VP of marketing so everyone was going to be fine, myself included, but I was definitely like the captain who jumped off the ship last. I tried to like wait until everyone was.
So literally the bank account like hit 0 and you paid everybody for that month. Like, do you give people 30 days notice? Could you or was it?
I really couldn't because I was expecting some deals to come in that didn't, and like I said, I mean I pressed it until the last minute.
What's your relationship like with those 10 people now?
Actually. Surprisingly, we keep in touch. I think they saw that I did literally everything I could have done.
Yeah.
And they saw that the emotion was real. Like, I mean, it was really tough. And on top of that, I decided to drain my personal bank account to pay my investor his money back. So, like, I tried running the company by myself for 4 months.
Okay.
Like, that's how bad I wanted to.
So you let everybody go, and then you were like, for 4 months, I'm just gonna
I'm gonna try to do everything.
Yeah.
Like the sales calls, this, that, the other thing. And it got to a point.
Did you get any deals in that time?
I actually did. I got in like 3 deals, all from the same client. And so that helped pay off that debt a little bit more to the investor.
That $250,000? Okay.
But it was really rough. And I just remember like one meeting. I walked into this ad agency and I went up to the desk. Hey, it's Jon Jacques. I'm here to see so-and-so. And she's like, yeah, grab a seat. And I'm waiting, and I'm like, excuse me, like, is this meeting starting? And she said, yeah, he just let me know he's at the airport now. And so I'm like, okay, so I'm guessing we're not having this meeting. She's like, yeah, we can reschedule. And I was like, okay. Well, I'm here, like, from New York for a limited period of time, And I just got in that rental car, and I cried, man. I was like, you know what? This isn't for me. Like, there's some times where a door just closes. You have to recognize the signs. Like, don't be stubborn with it if it's not working out.
So this was like your last client that you were going to?
Yeah.
And they just like canceled the meeting?
Yeah, they just canceled the meeting.
And this is what can happen sometimes. People are gonna, that's the crazy thing is like I've had managers who have canceled a contract with me via email and not even called me up to say, hey, thank you for, your hard work and blah, blah, blah. They would even give me a reason. I got an email a couple of months ago. Oh, yeah, by the way, we're terminating our 30 days. I'm like, wow. Yeah, it's tough. So it doesn't matter who you are. You can still be treated. And I want you guys to like understand that, just because of a position that you might see some people in, they still go through times where people don't treat them with respect, or there's like times where you're like, I can't even believe like this is happening. But it's kind of a sign. I always, when something like that happens, I go, it's just how it was meant to be. Like, because there's something better around the corner. Yeah. Like, if you've got laid off, if you get fired, something didn't happen with you, like, right today, you try to build a relationship that's, like, not coming back, it's just not meant to be.
That's right.
So that was the moment where you were like,
that was the last straw.
Done.
I'm like, I'm done. I'm not going to worry about, like, the money at this point. And, like, I still had, a significant amount of the debt to go to, like, pay off the rest. But I was like, I'll find another way. Yeah. And it led me just to another path. I said, I'm going to go back to my roots, creating the content on social media, doing magic, having fun, trying to inspire people, with this platform. I started up on Facebook. Facebook was like, all the big influencers were really crushing it on Facebook at that time. And that's what I did. And, during that time, I read probably 30 books looking for answers, trying to figure out what went wrong, this and that. And I didn't really come to any, like, distinct conclusions.
Yeah, you're like, okay, that didn't help.
Yeah, essentially, like, I spent, like, 8 months kind of, like, feeling sorry for myself and realized, like, the faster you can overcome that obstacle, like, the faster you can find the next thing, the better off you are. Otherwise, you can spend all day reading whatever you're trying to read.
So do you feel like for 8 months you were in a funk?
Oh, definitely. Yeah,
oh, wow.
Definitely.
That's So, and that happens to like a lot of us. Like I have a team of amazing coaches, and they'll be like, I can tell when the group is going through like a day funk or a week funk or like 2 months, but everybody goes through funks, and it's about how quickly you can like one, address that you're in a funk, and then two, how do you get yourself out of it? So do you remember what the moment was when you were like, okay, that's enough of feeling sorry for myself?
Yeah, so I read a lot of those books. One thing I did get out of it was the Tony Robbins quote, "The secret to living is giving." And I also started like going to church and things like that, which I never really did, growing up. And all these like motivational books talking about giving.
Impact.
Exactly.
Impact.
And so I was like, well, if enough people are saying it, maybe I'll just go do that. So I literally just started giving back. I like little ways, helping people on the streets. I was in New York, so obviously a massive homeless population, trying to help people who are terminally ill and just, some suicidal and just going through these things. And for, I'd say, like, I'd consider this part of the 8 months of when I was going through stuff. I just went out and I started giving. And it was like very therapeutic for me to see people who had gone through much worse than I. Like, oh, big deal, bud. Right? Like, you had a cool office and you built a team of 10 and, things fell apart.
Right.
Like, but people going through, like, real stuff.
Yeah.
And yet they were able to maintain such positivity. And that, for me, was really inspiring while I was going through this. And I'm like, if they can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
And so that really helped. And I met some wonderful people who, I met on the streets of New York or on the subway. I still keep in touch with today, and they'll call me up and I'll call them and all this stuff. And so that was a really cool time. But during that time, I made no money. I had no money.
Where were you living?
I was living in New York. So like the way I was paying rent was, I would do, so I won't say I made no money, but I made no regular money. I didn't have a paycheck. I didn't want to get a job. I felt like I was giving up if I got a job.
Yeah.
And so I would do consulting. Yeah, and here and there, and like I helped this influencer marketing company like build their team and little things here and there, but I never knew the next paycheck. Like it was just all up in the air. I gave away my last dollar a couple times during that experience, which was like really scary, but when I do something, I go all in. And so like when I read that quote and like I was hearing all this feedback about give, I just gave.
Right.
Like, and that's what
and that, I think like the giving thing and understanding where other people are at have you a whole sense of gratitude.
Absolutely.
Like sometimes we bring stress on ourselves. Like stress only comes from like we create that. Like no one else is like when your business is going wrong, like you create, okay, it's not the best of times, but you create that own stress. And then even sometimes, when the app isn't updated and there's people that are like, we're waiting for the Android to come out. And I'm like, it's coming. And I'm taking on that stress.
Sure.
But really, I'm like, okay, let's come from a place of gratitude. I have an app.
Right.
Like, I have, like, what do I have? I can breathe.
Exactly.
I can work out. I have, like, great people around me. And when I'm getting in those motions where I'm feeling, like, stressed or overwhelmed, giving, for one thing that you said, and then having that moment of gratitude of writing 5 things down that you're just grateful for.
Yeah, and that was one of the biggest takeaways. And I kept a gratitude journal literally every day during that time period. And you always find something.
Yeah, that's amazing. So then, what was the big catalyst to where you're at right now?
Sure.
So how many years ago was that you were in
so that was about 3 years ago.
Okay.
When I was going through it all. I was making videos on social media, like positive videos. For like 8 months, nothing really happened. It wasn't like Periscope where the app was blowing up. And it also wasn't like advertising where we had like $500,000 and we can get you tens of millions of views. I had to find really creative ways to bootstrap and find growth hacks to get my content in front of people. And so all of a sudden, one day it hit. I went from 800 views to over 800,000 views with one of these growth hacks that I figured out in the same day, like literally hours apart. And
what was the video?
It was the same kind of content that I was creating. I just found out how to get it distributed to the masses. But this was a woman who I met in on the corner of the street, and her name's Mary. And she had these broken glasses on, and these, she had a walker, and an older woman, and just such a beautiful soul, like really beautiful person. And the video started off, and she's like, I want to tell something to you, like no matter what you go through in life, don't ever lose like your joy and your positivity and your love for life. And that video touched a lot of people. Like people really loved it. It was an interview. And then I said, wow, okay, like there's something here. And I was getting ready to give up and actually get that job. But I decided to keep on the path and keep going because of that. And then now I have videos with, 10, 20, 30 million views. And I've just been able to figure out how to do it.
So now you teach other people how to do that.
I do, yeah.
So how does that work? Like when they come to you have a website?
Sure.
Yeah, so what's the website called?
So it's viralsecrets.com.
Okay.
And basically anyone can get started for like $9. They just pay the shipping and handling. We send them like a 4-hour course on a flash
for $9.
drive.
So if somebody's you're like, I want to grow my business just to get exposure, right?
For sure. Yeah, I get a ton of entrepreneurs, entertainers, actors, doctors, whoever. I mean, even people with like some passion inside of them or some little skill, and they want to get that skill out to the masses. Now thousands and thousands of clients going through that course, and
wow. So is there other courses? Is it just that one course?
No, there are definitely others if you want to do it faster, or if you want to learn how to edit. I show how I edit all my videos, because there's a definite formula for viral videos versus like if you're creating a movie, like the stuff they teach you in film school for $7,000 isn't necessarily the same technique that's going to work online. So I have 5 courses out there right now, and I'm doing a ton of speaking events and
that's
things
so
like
exciting.
So it's been cool.
So what would somebody get from one of their courses? Like how would it take their business from like where they're at right now to like, making more income?
Sure. So really a lot of the courses are designed around personal branding, right? And you know this. I mean, you have a platform. When you have an audience, you never know who's watching on the other side of that screen. And it opens up podcast opportunities and speaking engagements, and someone wants to help you write your book, and all sorts of things, and not even mentioning the products you can sell because of that. So the Viral Secrets course takes people step by step through a case study of how I got 30 million views on one of my videos without spending any money on ads.
Wow.
Like free traffic. And it's really cool to just get people to think about how to set themselves up for viral success. And
that's huge. And when you got 30 million people seeing your stuff,
right,
like that's directly linked into your business.
Oh, absolutely.
Like it's about exposure.
Absolutely.
And Facebook ads are tricky. Like I have ads, and like I tried them a couple of years ago. I found a great guy that I'm working with now. But if you're starting and you're brand new, Facebook ads is like you have to spend a lot of money to even like just the testing. So this is a great option if you are like, okay, I want to be able to get my message and exposure out there without spending. Well, I mean, Nike probably spends like millions, like crazy amounts of money. So that's really exciting. And so the people that are coming to you, entrepreneurs, people building their brands, like, I mean, all walks of life.
Even like singers and actresses trying to just get their talent out there.
And then also if you're interested in like learning how to edit, I mean, that's such a time consuming thing, and there's so much stuff on YouTube, but if you know specifically like I want to make viral videos, then obviously your course is like perfect for that.
It's been very well received. People love it.
So now you don't live in New York anymore.
No, I live here.
So why do you move to Los Angeles?
I really just wanted to change from New York, and also too because all the influencers are out here. I've gotten to get to know a lot of the big YouTubers pretty well, Instagram people,
all the people.
That whole scene. So it's been a lot of fun, and the weather is just awesome.
That's much better than New York. We were in New York like 2 weeks ago, and it was like freezing cold. I was like, I feel like people are either like New Yorkers or like California people.
Sure.
What do you feel like you are?
Honestly, I live a little above LA, near Malibu, and it's quieter. I like New York better so far, but I've only been here like a year.
Well, you're living on like the outskirts.
Right. I like the action.
Don't tell Savannah that. She's like, no, I'd never live in New York. She's like California girl. So what's next for you? What have you got up in the next couple of months? Like shows? Like what are we?
So some speaking engagements. I speak at a good amount of like business seminars, marketing conferences, things like that. Jumping on some people's podcasts like this, which is awesome. Really excited about all of that, and just constantly refining the courses, putting out the newest content. I probably made like 3 revisions, like we were talking about. It's never perfect, so you're always just putting more out there. and scaling the business. I launched officially online in February. Since then, have over 5,000 new customers, which is incredible. I had no idea. Like when you launch something, you don't know.
Yeah, you don't.
Or
know.
like 2 people gonna buy this.
Yeah, you're like even if one person buys it, I'm like, I don't know your mum.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so
my mum and dad bought the app. That's fine. Yeah.
But it went incredibly well. People are like really raving about it, and I'm very fortunate that it worked because it's been a grind, for several years. Like
since you were 10. He's been working since
well,
he was
that
10.
too,
He's
yeah.
got 17 years.
Right. But since the last business, I kind of sucked wind for a couple years and just figured it out and built and stayed patient. And then when it launched, it was a massive first month out of the gate. So it's really cool.
I like what you said there. It's like figuring it out. It's like, it's not, there's never like an end date. It's like, keep going where you need to be, but enjoy that journey.
Right.
And always refining things, always thinking about like, hey, how can I make this better? But appreciating like where you've got to.
Totally.
Because you can just like go, well, nothing's working, this isn't working, but you're exactly where you're meant to be. I'm just like a firm believer in the people that come into your life and the people that leave your life. It's all for who you are, meant to be in the future.
Yep, I agree.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me for today. I am just fired up. I love the workout that we did too. I might have to take you for a 28-minute workout. See if you can do one of the ones on the burnout.
Okay.
So last time, how can they find you and then your website too?
Yeah, sure. At Jonathan Jacques, and Jacques, we say it a little funny. It's spelled Jacques.
Yeah, it's like Jack.
It's like Jacques, yeah.
Yes. But
and then the website is viralsecrets.com.
Okay, perfect. We're going to put all the details in the description below. Guys, thanks for watching this week's episode of It Takes Grit. Make sure that you leave us a review, give us a thumbs up on YouTube, and we'll see you next week. Bye, guys.